Got some texts this week. People could not see us. Todd, my engineer this morning, Todd, good morning. Todd Kaiser, Mr. Radio Personality himself, and radio engineer. People said they couldn't see us, and I'm so sorry about that. I've let management know. Right. Just now. He got it. Those of you live streaming or attempting to live stream, www.wcab59.com. Good morning. Those of you there we are in the blue room, looking great, I might add. And my hair does look fabulous this morning. Those of you listening to us, Northland Cable Channel 5 subscribers, good morning. My name is Gilbert Carmona. I am an enrolled agent. An enrolled agent is a person enrolled with the IRS to represent taxpayers in all forms and shapes and sizes of problems that you may be having with the IRS. I can represent taxpayers. I also work with state taxing authorities. As an enrolled agent, I can represent taxpayers in all 50 states. Actually, I have clients all over the world. Anybody who has to file a tax return in the great United States of America, I can help you do that. I prepare simple tax returns too. I've gotten many phone calls. Do you do just a simple tax return? I do. We prepare tax returns. We do corporate returns, partnership returns, individual returns, estates, trusts. We work with all these government forms and not-for-profits. I'm going to talk a little bit about not-for-profits later. Now, if you need to get a hold of me, you can email me at gilbert@gilbertcarmona.com. This is a live program. If you have a question, please feel free to call Todd. He will take your message. If I can answer it live on the air, I will, your question or message. I will answer it live on the air. Now, last week, we're getting a little feedback there, Todd. He's on it. It's right over here.
Yeah, radio feedback.
Let's just change the channel. That usually helps. Now, last week, no, there were no protesters coming to the radio station. Several people asked me, were there really protesters coming? Because you were talking about Trump? No, they weren't. They were just overly zealous listeners that are on their way to work. And that's how you know they weren't protesters. They had jobs. They were on their way to work, and they were encouraging me along. So Jay and I had a rough first 5 minutes there. They were trying to find me, but they couldn't put Roughton in their GPS. That's why they couldn't come here and find me, but they told me they were going to be here this morning. So if they show up, I'll let you know. Want to talk about...
There's an app that translates redneck to English.
Thank you, Todd. Todd's just working the panel here. He's on top of it all. So we're okay? We're good to go? Fabulous. No technical difficulties?
We're good.
They're listening?
Got it.
Great. This is live radio, folks. If you don't know that yet. Live right here at WCAB. Now, I have an office right here in Rutherfordton at 113 Whitesides Road. I have another office in downtown Tryon in the beautiful Art Deco building at 226 South Trade Street. Now that office typically is by appointment only, although we are there 4 days a week. There's some staff there 4 days a week. You can drop papers off and pick papers up. But if you want to see me there, you need to call and make an appointment. And who do you call? 828-289-9300. Just say you want to make an appointment to see Gilbert. Now, I want to get the politics out of the way. Do I want to do that first, or what do I want to? Well, how do I want to get started here, Todd? There's about 5 things I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about the scams again. I know it seems like that's all I ever talk about, but the newest. Those of you that listen know, I've said it for years. The biggest challenge facing the IRS is not all these tax issues or all the things that we think the IRS should be doing, like the effective administration of our tax code. Oh no, that's not even on their radar. No, what besides their political activity, because they are a politically active agency, as we saw with the Tea Party movement, which I'm going to talk about the Tea Party movement too in a minute, and that issue from 2 years ago is far from over. and it's actually just making its way to court now. And there's a judge that's going to hear something in that case. So just because something's not on the front page of the news doesn't mean it's gone away. These things have implications. So, you listen to a news report and they talk about something that somebody did in, 2014. And you're like, well, that was 3 years ago. Well, it's taken that long for it to go through our process, through our system. The investigations need to be done, things need to happen. So that whole and to refresh everybody's mind, because it was 2 years ago, if you submitted an application for a charity, to set up a charity, not a 501c3, because political activist groups have a different codes, there's others for them. But if you set up, and anywhere on that application, the 1023 application that you submit to the IRS, anywhere on there you had the words Tea Party, your application, and by their own admission, the IRS has said this happened. So this isn't alleged, this isn't rumors. They admitted it happened, and several people, they didn't really lose their jobs. It came across that way in the media. Actually, one agent's contract was up. The commissioner, before Kaskigian, and his contract was up. He was quitting anyway. And they made it seem like, see what we did there? We made him leave. Well, his contract said he was leaving. He was going. And they made it seem like it was a big deal. No, that was not a big deal. And Lerner, we had Miss Lerner, who took some heat for it, but did not lose her $130,000 a year job. I think they reassigned her to another $130,000 a year job. Well, this is now making its way to the courts. So this is going to be really interesting to watch, because the IRS rarely gets held accountable for these kind of moves. And they do in lawsuits and things. People do sue the IRS, and they do lose high-profile cases. But most of this stuff is so boring. Tax law is really boring. Tax code enforcement is not exciting stuff. So the media doesn't cover it. There's rarely a smoking gun. There's usually a political motive, especially behind the bigger things. And how do you pin that down? And politics change so fast. The accusation was that former President Obama, are they texting me? Is that a message for me?
Yeah.
I'll have to get it later. I'll read it during the break. I want to read about your app. Former President Obama used the IRS as a weapon against his enemies. And with what we know now, that doesn't surprise me at all. So I've said this before, the biggest problem facing the IRS is going to be ID theft, security theft. For those of you that don't use the internet, which a lot more people than you realize, than you would think, don't use the internet. They don't use it for banking. I'm surprised at how many people do not do their credit card payments or their banking online. And really, I do it online, and I do it for my clients online because I have to. It's the only way. You call these companies now and you're on hold, and what do they tell you? You have to listen to the recording telling you to go to www.youfillinthename-of-the-company.com. And they want you to go to their website, and then they want to complain about how they've had a breach of security and ID theft, and it's how horrible it is, and how it's not their fault. But you're the one that told me to go there. How this is all going to shake out, we don't know. But the IRS 2 years ago released a tool that was supposed to make it very easy for everybody to get online and get your tax information and resolve issues. Well, that tool allowed hackers to get, and we still don't know how many, the number keeps climbing. I don't expect them, it's not that I think they're lying to us, I think they don't know. First it was 25,000, then 100,000, and 400,000, and we don't know how many names, social security numbers, date of births, family relationships, and job data got breached or hacked or given away or however they do it. They downloaded it, they emailed it. In Virginia, a worker downloaded, at the request of what she thought was an upper manager, but it was a fake email, sent a database, an Excel spreadsheet with the name, social security number, date of birth of every employee in that county in Virginia to whoever it went. And that's happened quite a bit. That's not a new scam. So these scams are still out there. People keep falling for them. Those of you that watch Senior Citizens, the grandpa scam is probably the worst one. I've heard 2 actual cases, people in my office, that a family member fell for it. Somebody called and says, "Hey, grandpa." If the person says yes, or hey, or hi, how are you, whatever, acknowledges that title, they go in. And I said it last week, I've said it for weeks, said it for years. Facebook. Don't put pictures of all your stuff on Facebook. Whatever you do, don't put your family trips on Facebook. There's the whole family. They call the people and they say, "It's me, Jimmy. Just got back from the lake." Well, of course he was at the lake. It's on Facebook. And the grandpa goes right with it, or whatever, you fill in the story, whatever. And I just heard of one this week where the grandfather sent, I think it was $1,500 to an email, responded to a link. And I think what it was is they cleaned out his bank account. He had $1,500. He thought he was just sending him a couple of $100. He thought the email was coming from whoever, from whatever family member he thought he was talking to on the phone. And a lot of these people, and then the other story was the man knew it was scammers on the phone, and he thought he was just playing them along. Oh, I was just having fun with them. But in that having fun with them, number one, you've acknowledged you're a real person, willing to talk to them. Number two, he, without thinking it through, he gave them a lot of information. The man said, "Yeah, this is Jimmy, your grandson. I'm here at college." Just the person was just shooting, trying to find a hook. They call it, trying to find a hook to get the conversation going. And he goes, "Really, what a coincidence. Jimmy's 9 years old. I don't think he's in college yet." Well, you've just acknowledged there's a Jimmy. You've just told him he's 9 years old. And believe me, a lot of them record this stuff. They go back and listen to it, is what they found out, like in India. In India, that India scam, they were using very sophisticated telemarketing equipment. You envision you see some guys on the phone talking to you. They're talking to you through computers. They're on the internet. They're recording this stuff. They're listening to everything. They're listening to the background noise to get clues as to who you are. There's very sophisticated. The money in this is huge. The India people were averaging $50 million a week before they got caught. And that's just an estimate. We don't know. So I wanted to get that out of the way, especially those of you that watch older people. What does this have to do with taxes? Everything. Because most of this information now, they're getting through tax records. And so we are now, I thought I was in the business of preparing tax returns. Now I find I'm in the business of guarding people's data. A huge amount of our overhead, or a huge percentage of our overhead, is now going to securing your data. So when you're looking for a tax preparer, please, number one, if you go to a tax preparer and that tax preparer flips open a laptop, I don't care how cheap they are, how long you've known them, how good they are, say no thank you. If they don't at least have some kind of a secure method of securing your data, you've just exposed yourself to the world. And I go by these kiosks in these malls where they set up these temporary, and yeah, I know it's national franchises. I know that they're you've got at Walmart, Hewitt Jackson at Walmart, and the people are there. I was at one of these kiosks, and I watched, the girl is there looking very bored. She gets up and goes over to get coffee and leaves everything there, all her papers there. I didn't watch, but I don't think she locked her drawer that she had things in. And even if she did lock her drawer, with a good screwdriver, you could have opened that drawer. It was all like a propped up thing that they set up just for a couple of months during tax season. And I'm not telling you not to go to Hewitt Jackson, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, this is your data, your name, your social security number, your date of birth, your family relations are worth a lot of money to these people. A family of two, a husband and wife, two people with 3 children can get a refund of about $10,000 if the numbers are all right and if everything scrubs. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those 7, 8,000, 9,000, 5,000, 6,000. A head of household with 2 children can get $6,000 or $7,000. That's what they're looking for. And I mean, $7,000 a pop, and it's not just this year, it's next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. There's people that don't even know they've been hacked. I've had people come and say, I didn't get my refund from last year. I'm like, well, that was a year ago. Well, I'm being busy, didn't call you. Just had a lot going on. I know. You're like, and then I got people that call me every day. I'm waiting for my refund. Have you heard anything? Those are the people, believe it or not, those are the ones that get hacked. Then they get hacked all the time. Todd, where's the time going?
Yes.
I just got started, and I haven't heard from my protesters, so I think we're going to be safe. You think we're going to be safe?
Well, we got security outside.
And we do have security out there. Canyon is all over it. He's on the door.
No, yeah.
He's watching it. If you can put the laptop down, we'll be okay. Let's take a break. Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM. I get asked all the time, Gilbert, with 2017 already here, will your hair continue to look as fabulous as it looked in 2016? The answer is yes. How can I say that so confidently? Because I go to Robin at RSL Salon. Call Robin for an appointment, 289-9110, or call Emily at 447-3524. Whether it's hairstyling, manicures, or pedicures, it's always RSL Salon, because everyone deserves to look fabulous. I want to tell you about a little-known Rutherford County gem, Integrity Marble and Granite, located at 287 Shiloh Road in Forest City. They are the premier stone fabrication company in the western North Carolina region. They specialize in granite, marble, and natural stone, offering complete design and installation. Their design center and Kohler showroom features vanities, decorative accessories, bathroom, and kitchen fixtures. You do not have to go to Charlotte or Asheville for this kind of quality. We have it right here in Forest City. Stop in their showroom and browse their beautiful displays, or you can call 828-247-8801 for a free quote. You can also go to their website, www.integritymarblegranite.com, and look at the pictures and see samples of their available materials. Now, mention you heard it on Gilbert Talks Taxes, and they will give you $100 off any sink purchase. That's Integrity Marble and Granite. We are back. Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM. If you need to give me, my telephone number is 828-289-9300. I want to welcome those of you listening. The Blue Room, we look fabulous here. We just look fabulous. So to finish with all talking about the IRS. So the IRS sets up this website. 2 years ago, it became a portal for hackers. They basically got, and really, my guess is millions of names and addresses and whatever. Now they're at it again. They want to do it again. They are just convinced that they can create a way for taxpayers to get their data from the IRS website. And really, why? What are you doing that is so urgent that I need my transcript tomorrow? I have yet to have a case where I need the data that fast. Just give me a 60-day extension, let me pull everything together, and let's move on. But no, they want people to be able to access their stuff in real time. I think it's ridiculous. There's no point to it, but they're convinced they're going to do it. So now they have a new tool. Todd. Now, and this is the worst part. This is the part where I'm an enrolled agent. There are 3 people that can help you with tax matters and problems and things you're having. Enrolled agents, CPAs, and tax attorneys. And if you're not dealing with one of those 3, really, folks, don't let somebody prepare your taxes that's just a preparer. If somebody in that office, and I understand there's a lot of good preparers out there, but if somebody in that office is not an enrolled agent, a CPA, or a tax attorney, consider your choices. Because nobody in that office is being held to a standard. And that's what it's all about. It's not just that we have a license that you hang on the wall. It's you're being held to a standard. As an enrolled agent, I'm held to a strict standard. We call it Circular 230. It's a little book. The IRS puts it out. They review it, they change it, they modify it. It's very up to date, and it says everything I need to do. And the ethics is very high in Circular 230. We just have to follow it. But if nobody in that office, if somebody's just prepared in this registered preparer thing, this is nothing. This is nothing more than just something that they're giving out. It's meaningless. There's no testing involved. There's no standard involved, and it's not something that they can pull if you mess up. It's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. So why don't they just work through us to do this? No, they insist on going directly to the taxpayer and letting the taxpayer access this. So now they've created another website. They're doing the Taxpayer Digital Communication Project. So taxpayers are going to get stuff in the mail, more confusing mail from the IRS. When they get a letter from the IRS, their heart skips a beat. They open it because they think it's a letter telling them they owe money. 90% of the time. So the IRS right there, they've already lost the battle doing it that way. But they're doing it that way, and they're going to let you, they want to set up a portal that you can access the IRS and deal with them in real time. There's only just one problem. How do you get back to the ID data thing? So somebody over there had the brilliant idea that they're going to do cell phone verification. Because, oh, Todd, you see this one coming already. You've been listening to Gilbert Talks Taxes for, 4 years now? That's yeah, you see it coming. There's just one little problem with that. Believe it or not all Americans have cell phones. Let's start with that. Have cell phones. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who don't. A lot of Americans have flip phones. A huge amount, or huge, as our president says, a huge amount of Americans have prepaid phones with minutes. They don't have a contract. So the IRS is requiring you to have a contract phone service that they can verify to get online, which the whole thing is just crazy. What about all the people who all share a plan? You have whole families under one contract. What about companies that provide employees cell phones, and the employees don't have to have a cell phone because their company gives them one? This is millions of people. And now, throw on top of that, companies that are doing prepaid minutes. I have a lot of companies now. That's the new thing. It's a cost saving. It's unlimited mobile, unlimited phone calling. I'm old enough to remember calling your family after 7 p.m. so you wouldn't use minutes. Oh, yeah, we would. Oh, you remember that? Yeah. Can you call Mom, see how she's doing? Well, no, it's 6:40. Let me call in 20 minutes. Because, Mom, I love you, but I'm not wasting minutes to call you. Sorry. And you'd roll them over, and a rollover plan, if you had one of those, and you got grandfathered into one of those were like gold. Because you paid by the minute. Then now you're paying by data. Now you have unlimited plans. Companies are doing these prepaid phones, Cricket and others, prepaid phones at the corporate level. I'm not just talking about, one or two employees. At the corporate level, they're doing this, and it's more economic. It's a simple one-stop solution. Employee quits, you turn off the data plan for that phone. That's it. Boom. Bye. See you. It's been nice. And by the way, keep the phone. They're only $90. You don't even have to return them. They don't care. There's nothing on that phone that they want. So those times have changed, and the IRS, they just don't seem to get it. So you're going to be getting letters about that. I guess that's pretty much it. Let's talk about earned income tax credit. Earned income tax credit. In that, talking about all that fraud, as a fraud fighting measure, and this I think is one of the smartest things the IRS has done in a long time. To fight fraud, they held all tax returns that involved earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and additional child tax credit, till they didn't release them till February 15th. Now, most of them were not released until February 22nd, 23rd, 24th, yesterday. On Tuesday night at midnight, we had a huge batch released. It was incredible. This week, and I warned some of the people in town, my clients that cash checks, that offer check cashing services, several of my small businesses, grocery stores that do that. I warned them. I said, the American public is just getting, is going to be getting about $5 billion in the next 72 hours. And they're all going to come to your store to cash these checks. You better have a lot of cash. And the one man told me, thank you. He said Wednesday they poured in with their Refund Advantage checks and their Bank of Ozark check and all those companies that do those check printing services for the IRS. And you're going to start seeing the paper checks show up on your doorstep today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's going to be a huge impact on the economy. The car lots are reporting increased sales. Restaurants are reporting increased sales. Retail is just reporting exploding sales. Grocery stores. It shows you the power of this, what the government is sitting on when I always call this economic event. And most people think about it at their own level. Yeah, they get $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 because of this. But when you look at it locally, nationally, just the cash injection that it is. Last week I talked about how tax returns filings were down by 33%. I am going to tell you, I want to see it at the end of tax season when I have more time to look into this. I mean, we're just busy doing tax returns, Todd. We're like 2 a.m. busy. But I really want to look at this later. I think the reason they're down 33% is because the frauders and the scammers and people that typically file suspicious tax returns this year didn't even bother or curtailed their activity somewhat. Because we're down by 33%. Refunds are down by, the dollar amount is down by 42%. So you couple that with the immigration issue, you've got that many less people filing returns because they're worried that that's going to be a red flag. You've got the scammers that are down, and you've got an aging population. So I think the IRS is going to be on a decline of activity. We're going to see this happen. I said it here today, Todd. Are you writing that down? He's busy typing. He's got it. You got it. I said it today. Remember, I said that this was going to be their biggest problem, and it has been their biggest problem. So earned income tax credit. If you don't get your earned income tax credit, if you filed your tax return before the 15th of February and you don't get it by the first week of March, and you haven't gotten a letter in the mail, give the IRS a phone call. Something is wrong. You could be flagged for ID theft. You could be flagged for something wrong. Now, I got a couple of minutes before the break. So, the Obamacare thing, Todd, it is still a problem. But we're having a new phenomenon with the Obamacare thing that is holding up people's refunds. A lot of them, I've got 4 that I'm aware of right now. 4 that I'm aware of that are being held up. Might be 5. I think I got a phone call yesterday I haven't replied to yet. I think this is what happened. Last year, people got Obamacare. Actually, they got Obamacare the year before. They thought, this is great. I'm getting health insurance. They get Obamacare. They had a subsidy. They went through it. They did their tax return last year. And they had to pay back a bunch of that subsidy. Or their insurance premium went up 137%. Or you fill in the blank, whatever reason. People dropped this. People have dropped Obamacare unreal. How do I know Obamacare is a failure? Because it's not in the news where they're telling us what a success it is. Okay? As a matter of fact, you don't even hear anything about it. The open enrollment was over January, and I've been waiting to hear numbers, and you haven't heard a peep out of the media. Not even like in page 12. I mean, this thing has totally just bombed. So, but what happened is, so last year, and I'm seeing it this year, when they had to pay back their subsidy, they canceled their insurance. Some of them let it go through the end of the year, and they canceled. They figured, okay, we're already committed. Well, healthcare.gov didn't cancel it, or they canceled it, but you still had a 30-day your policy was still in force because insurance companies don't cancel you. The day you pick up the phone and say, I don't want it anymore, that's not the day they cancel you. They'll put in an effective date, but you still have a 30-day, and with COBRA and all these other things that kick in because they want you to think about it. Do you really, really want to give up your insurance, or are you just upset at that moment? Because it's a deal to get it back. So they'll give you a 30-day window, a 60-day window, or even a 90-day window. People had Obamacare. I've had them. They're showing up. They said, well, I didn't have it. I had no insurance at all. I had nothing. I said, call the exchange and ask them. Sure enough, they come back to my office with a 1095-A from the exchange that they had it for 1 month, January, because it was a 30-day period. It didn't cancel. They had a subsidy, and now their refund is being held. So if you don't get that refund, if you're waiting and it doesn't come, I would wait till at least Wednesday. I would wait till March 1st, March 2nd before calling the IRS. If you don't get it by the 5th or the 6th, the following Monday, I would definitely call the IRS because there is a problem. 21 days from the 15th should be enough time to process that tax return, and you may not even be aware you have a problem. Todd, let's go ahead and take a break, and let's come back. I'm going to talk about small business taxes, maybe. This is Gilbert Talks Taxes, right here, WCAB 590 AM.
What can I say about Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, and 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery that can do them justice? The cakes, fresh-baked breads, sandwiches, and salads, everything is delicious and perfect. Whether it's sit-down dining, lunch on the run, or catering for any occasion, Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, or 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery is the place to go. Stop in at Cafe at the Mall, Cafe to Go, and 10 North Trade Cafe Bakery and mention Gilbert Talks Taxes and get a free cranberry oatmeal cookie, the official cookie of Gilbert Talks Taxes.
Hi there, this is Kimberly, and I'm here to tell you about Peterson's Auto Service and Detail Shop. As a woman, I'm often apprehensive about taking my car to a dirty service garage. But you can be assured that Peterson's, located at 478 Butler Road, Forest City, has an incredibly clean and safe environment where you get high-quality service at a great price. Peterson's was voted Rutherford County's best auto service 3 years in a row. So take your car to Peterson's for brakes, oil change, North Carolina inspection, tire rotation, headlight lens restoration, scratch removal, and meticulous auto detailing. That's Peterson's at 478 Butler Road, Forest City. You can call him for an appointment at 245-8889. Mention you heard Kimberly on WCAB 590 AM, and Peterson will give you $20 off a full detail or $5 off your next North Carolina inspection. Peterson's Auto Service and Detail Shop, a place I feel comfortable going to.
Suffering from numbness in your feet, leg cramping, pain when you walk, difficulty sleeping from leg and foot discomfort? Well, you need to see Dr. Jerry Gross at Foot and Ankle Center of the Carolinas. Your feet don't have to hurt. Call 245-6405 today.
We are back. We are back. And I said, this is Gilbert Talks Taxes right here. If you need to get me, my telephone number is 828-289-9300. You can give me a call. I am getting some messages and some texts. Nothing I really want to get into on the air. I will respond to you folks. Can you get that for me, Todd? I will get to you folks. Some of these are complicated. It's not that I don't. It's just
WCAB.
this is more question than I want to answer. That's more question than I want to answer. Okay. So.
Can you come back at 9 o'clock? I got somebody in the studio right now. I can't get to it.
So, okay. I'm not even going to answer that one. Okay. Okay. Take a message. I'll be answering those questions. I don't want to. I want to talk about taxes. I really do. I don't want to talk about Trump, but I can't help myself. This is so great. The economy is just doing wonderful. Things are just great. What do you say? But now if you listen to the media, they tell you the opposite. I spoke with an Israeli man. I've got a client who's Israeli. They actually have some businesses in Israel. They're clients of mine. And he was telling me, he said, in Israel, we vote for the candidate. Usually, we vote for one issue. And that candidate is known for one issue. In this country, we have candidates that want to be all things to all people. So what happens? You get an Obama who's so deluded, so, we say no saying, when you try to be all things to all people, you become nothing to no one. And that's really what's happened. He's become nothing to everyone. I mean, what's Obama going to go, 8 years, what's he going to be known for? Obamacare? The Maxine Waters, one of them said, Valerie Jarrett, one of them said, they're interchangeable, those two. They said it was the only scandal-free presidency ever. And the media publishes that like it's truth. I mean, the only scandal-free presidency ever. And this General Flynn's thing that just happened with the leaks and the documents and the top secret conversations that became public, forced him to step down, they said is the biggest scandal since, the last 100 years. Really. I think it said it all. And I'm gonna stop talking about the lying media with this, because they are the lying media. It said it all when NBC anchor, was it NBC? NBC. No, MSNBC, sorry. MSNBC anchor, how do you even pronounce this last name? Can you help me here, Todd? Brzezinski. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah. Brzezinski. She said it all, folks. She said it all. She said, and most of you may have heard this already, some of you didn't. She said on a program on MSNBC, and I don't know what the name of the program was, but she was on there with 2 other people. I read the transcript of it. I don't listen to the video. I read the transcript of it. Brzezinski and Scarborough was the other person's name. But she said it. She said, our job is to control exactly what people think. I mean, there you have it. Out of their own mouth. And you would think the other people on the show would stop and say, well, can you explain what you mean by that? No, they jumped right in. That's absolutely right. How dare the president send Twitters and talk to the people directly? He needs to go through us. Because it's our job, and that's her quote, our job is to control exactly what people think. And her whole rant that she went on was that they can't they can't control the message. And the president's creating a message. Of course, they're accusing him of lying, which is exactly what they're doing, is lying. So they're accusing him, and it's just, the whole thing's just a mess. But I don't think she realized, but she's really exposed what the media is all about and what they think. And by the way, where I read the article, the researcher looked her up. She's not even a journalist. Her degree is, Todd, are you ready for this? Her degree is in English. So at least she said that correctly. She used all the right pronouns and adverbs and everything. Our job is to control exactly what people think. Now, her father was the advisor. Her father's around for a long time. He was an advisor to other presidents. He's the one that advised Obama on foreign policy, and now this is the daughter. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, telling us exactly how they feel about us. So I'm going to just, with that, I mean, it's enough to just make you sick and give up hope, but we're not going to give up hope. So I was talking to this Israeli man, and he said, we vote for a single issue. So a lot of people go to our government, but they campaign on a single issue, and they stick to that single issue, and they follow that single issue through. And I thought, is that not really the best? Because you can't be all things to all people. And we're going to agree and disagree on a lot of things. you've got all these rioters. I'm 57 years old. I remember the Chicago riots during the Democrat, not even the Republican, the Democrat National Convention in Chicago when there were riots. I remember Vietnam riots. I remember, and I was 8 years old. I want to say I was in second grade. And I remember we were downtown Chicago, and I remember asking my parents to explain to me what they were saying. They were holding up signs saying, LBJ, how many children did you kill today? And my parents just, let's not talk about that. and we moved on. But it was huge. So when the media is trying to tell you that this has never happened before, we've never seen so much hatred towards a president, I don't think so. And I'm only 57 years old. And I've seen a lot of vitriol and hatred towards presidents. I mean, Johnson wasn't the only one. I mean, I remember Watergate. I was there for that. I remember Gerald Ford. There were quite a few protesters for him. Don't forget, they hated Ronald Reagan. They called him a clown, a third-rate movie actor, and couldn't believe that we had actually elected him president. And there were protesters then. Now, we didn't have Twitter, and we didn't have live streaming, and we didn't have all this garbage that we have now. And it is garbage, because anybody with a Wi-Fi can put their opinion on the internet. But, yeah, for $19 a month or whatever. What's Wi-Fi go for these days? I don't even know. You can get a data plan for $40, okay? But that'll cut into your Starbucks. So you want to get the cheapest one you can. So, and I really want to talk about taxes. I really want to get back to taxes, but you can't, because you see this is going to affect us. What is happening is going to affect us. It's going to affect our policy. Trump keeps promising a tax overhaul. The last tax overhaul we had was, Todd, you've been listening to me long enough. Tax overhaul was? That's right, Todd, 1985. Good. You had to dig a little for that, scratch behind your ear, but you remembered it. And who was the president that did that?
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. He was the last president, a Republican, who was able to get enough support for a tax overhaul. We need a tax overhaul. And it's boring stuff that nobody really would care about, but it affects your tax return. It affects your tax return. There's things we need overhauled. We just need an overhaul. It's got to be made simpler. It's just way too complicated, said the man who makes his living doing tax returns. When I say that, you know it's too complicated. It's too much. I want to talk about a couple of things with small businesses that I'm seeing. Let's get back to taxes. A couple of things with businesses I'm seeing. You small business owners out there, you're looking for every deduction you can get legitimately. And I gotta hand it to our small business people. They really do want to do things right, and they want to do things honest. They want to do things simple. I don't have anybody come that wants me to do anything suspicious or shady or that. That's just, they don't. They want to just do things. They want to pay their tax bill, and they want to move on. If they have a bill. Most businesses do. They got to pay something. But I keep running into this documentation problem, especially with miles. Now they say, I didn't save every receipt. Well, did you pay with a debit card? Okay, you've got your bank statements. The IRS does accept that. And actually, sometimes bank statements can be better, and credit card statements can be better than receipts. Because I get the receipt that's been on the dashboard of the work van till the employee remembered to bring it into the office, and by that time, you know what you have? A white piece of paper that you can't read. If you hold it up to the sun, maybe you can read. There were some numbers on there at some time, and you might be able to make out the word Lowe's or Home Depot or something, but that's it. So you don't have to have every receipt, but at least have those bank statements and have those credit card statements and at least save them. Do you need to print them? No. I don't want to see every receipt. I don't want to see every bank statement. If you tell me you spent $10,000 on supplies, you're a carpenter, you spent $10,000 on supplies, you spent another $50,000 on materials, you did a $200,000 worth of work, I'm fine with that. But just know that in an audit, you're going to have to produce these documents. Now, a lot of people say, well, they're online. I can get them when we need them. Wrong thinking. Most of these places most of the credit cards and banks are only keeping your data online for a certain amount of time. What that certain amount of time is, I don't know. They're all different. There is no standard. So is your bank keeping your bank statements online for 7 years, 5 years, 2 years? And what happens when you close the account? And you can close the account for a lot of reasons. Oh, I'll never close that account. No, don't say that. Because there's a lot of reasons people change their accounts. It's not just that something. The bank may close it for you and reopen it, and you not even know it. They may say, we signed you up for smart business checking, as an example, that one bank offers. Now, there's limits on that. You can only do so many transactions, so much cash, so many deposits. If you go over that, they will tell you, we need to put you into another account. You need to go to this other type of banking. So what happens to your records from that other account? Most companies, once you don't have it, most banks, credit card companies, once you don't have that account anymore, there's a window of time and you can't access them anymore. So what do? Download PDFs. Just make it a habit. Every month, or whatever your flow is, or as soon as it comes out, download that PDF. Don't just look at it and forget it. You look at it, okay, yeah, this is right. I charged $5,000. The bill is due this day. Great, let's pay it. Move on. Download it. Just download it. Stick it in a file somewhere on your computer, or on a jump drive, or on a disk drive, or whatever you do, wherever you back up your data. And treat that data like it's real. Paper data. Don't treat it like it's some electronic thing. And it's always the warning I've had for small businesses, is we tend to treat this data like it's this thing that doesn't exist. No, it's real. And in an audit, I need that data. And it's not available. I hear it so many times. Oh, I downloaded it somewhere. Well, where is that somewhere? On a computer.
In the cloud.
Where is that computer? Actually, Todd just said in the cloud. But you know what, Todd? In the cloud? Ooh, we're past our break. In the cloud I can even handle, because as long as you have that account, we can get it, and at least you can tell me where. Most of them can't even tell me where. Oh, somewhere. And then I had a new one 2 weeks ago. I downloaded it on my laptop. Oh, great. Where's your laptop? My daughter has it in college. Oh, okay. Well, can we get her on the phone and let's look at that data? Gets her on the phone. Oh, that computer, that thing was a piece of garbage. I got rid of it and got a new one. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. My student loan paid for it, or my Pell Grant paid for it, or whatever. So I got a new one. I ditched that one, got a new one. What did you do with it? I threw it out. Threw it out like as in the trash. Now there is a laptop in the trash somewhere at some landfill with this woman's business records for the last 3 years, including bank accounts, passwords, and social security numbers. See what I'm saying? This is really an issue. So have it somewhere secure. Have it somewhere where you can get your hands on it. Let's go ahead and take a break, and let's get back. Gilbert Talks Taxes right here, WCAB 590 AM.
A good sign is good business. Make your business stand out with a professional sign from DS Signs and Graphics. Successful companies all over the Carolinas are trusting Alex at DS Signs and Graphics. He has the artistic ability to present your company's image in the best light. Not only display signs, but DS Signs and Graphics can customize banners of all sizes. And if you need magnetic signs or window and vehicle lettering, call on DS Signs and Graphics today. They offer a full line of signs and graphics for any event. 3D, sandblasted, storefront, and monument signs are part of the complete selection of quality signage. Professional signs and banners to fit any budget. Let your business stand out. Call DS Signs and Graphics today. That phone number is 286-4900. Or stop by the sign shop located on Main Street in downtown Spindale. And check the website for more suggestions at dssignsingraphics.com.
I want to welcome Tim Schlabach and Foothills Photo Works, a professional hybrid commercial photography studio. If you're concerned about your social media image, listen up. Whether you're an executive, real estate broker, lawyer, or business owner, your image matters now more than ever. And you know first impressions count. Whether you need professional portraits, corporate headshots, images of your products or facility, aerial photography and videos of buildings, boats, or large acreage, affordable professional help is here for you. Foothills PhotoWorks can create media that will help your prospects get to know you better and help you look your best. Foothills PhotoWorks is located at 362 Charlotte Road in Rutherford, North Carolina, but you need to call for an appointment. That number is 828-668-2304. Mention this ad and receive 15% off your first session. That's 828-668-2304. Foothills PhotoWorks, your media professionals.
We are back.
Variety makes radio
Gilbert
listening
Talks
a
Taxes
pleasure.
right here.
You have it. News.
Somebody
weather,
drove by and
sports,
saw
talk
somebody
shows.
standing outside, thought it was a protester. No, that's just Canyon, Todd's son. Just,
Good, he's good.
oh, security. No, he's security. Yes, he's security. That's what we're calling him now, security. Put him down as a tax write-off on that for security. Getting quite a few questions here. Quite a few questions. So, depreciation. Actually, I was going to talk about depreciation. Talking about the small businesses. Depreciation. So business expenses. Let me finish with the business expenses. Documentation. Save those records. You can save them digitally. Just have them. Keep them. We okay?
Oh,
Everything's good. We are. You want to keep those records. They want my number. They're calling. They want my number. It's. Let me give it to you again. 828-289-9300. My email address. Gilbert@gilbertcarmona.com. Send me an email. Ask me a question. I've gotten a few questions, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to answer those of you personally. Some of these are a little complicated. So the other documentation nightmare that I'm concerned about with a lot of my small business people is mileage. Most of my bigger small businesses, if that's a word, my bigger small businesses, they don't qualify for the mileage exemption. Mileage is Schedule C, Schedule F, where we can calculate the mileage on when you're filing an 1120, when you're filing a corporate return, you have to depreciate the vehicle. It's 100% business use vehicle, depreciate it, the actual gasoline, oil, maintenance, wear, tear, insurance, taxes, license tag, all that stuff. We take all that in actual. But if you're a Schedule C filer, small business, and don't forget, anybody can be a Schedule C filer. I have Schedule C filers that make millions of dollars of revenue, generate millions of dollars of revenue, but they're still Schedule C. That just means they're a sole proprietor. And you don't have to be a corporation. That's just a classification of a business. And a lot of people became corporations and LLCs because some lawyer told them to, because he could charge them $500 or $700 or more. I've seen people pay $1,200 to do that. And it's not the best thing for everybody. There are actually some people that sole proprietor is a better way to go. But it's all part of a financial strategy of how you're going to file and pay your taxes and operate your business. Okay, so having said that, if you're a Schedule C filer, Schedule F filer for a farm, and you're doing mileage for your car, or even if you get a W-2 and you have unreimbursed expenses with your car, where basically it's your job to drive your car around, they don't pay you for it, you do it, you get to write that off against your income, you are required to keep a log of your miles, and that log is in real time, meaning you should at least show how many miles you drove every week, at least. Now there's guidelines on this. It doesn't say, they don't give you a formula, they don't give you a form to follow. I wish they would, because in audits it's kind of, well, how did you keep this? Well, some people will have a calendar, 12 days. They'll write every day how many miles they drove. That is the best thing to have. Or people that keep these pocket logs. I know Staples used to sell them for a couple of dollars. It's literally a little booklet. It's folded in half. and you just, every day you write in how many miles, and you can also track some of your other expenses, your gas, your tolls. We don't have tolls here, but for my people that travel around, they will incur quite a few tolls, especially you go up to New York, you go up to Washington, D.C. on business, as a course of doing business. Virginia, you're going to hit those tolls. So, and that's all deductible. And you think, it's not a big deal, but tolls today, $2, $3 toll in a big city is nothing. You do that 15 times. It's a substantial write-off. If you get a ticket driving for business, a traffic infraction, yes, it is deductible. Oh, but it's a ticket. I turned right on red or left on red or whatever I did wrong. You get a ticket. And you go to some of these cities that have these cameras, and you'll get the ticket 2 months later. And it's you driving the car. There's a picture and your license plate, and you did what you did. You can they have violationinfo.com. You can even go to the website and watch the video of you driving through the red light, just in case you didn't think it was you. And there you are behind the car, driving through the red light, and pay the $175. Thank you. So that is a tax deduction. It can happen in the course of you doing business. And these things do happen, and you pay them. But you got to keep records. You've got to have records. There are people that just keep those things in their car and they bring them to me. Now, all the IRS requires is that you have the dates on there. You don't have to give them a whole long breakout of what you did, but if you can make a little note, maybe a job you were going on, a job name, a client you were meeting, client name. The same thing with lunches. If you're out doing business and you're buying your lunch, you get a 50% write-off on your tax return. Now, but if you take a client out to lunch, it's 100% deduction. So on that receipt, just make some notes who the client was. This doesn't have to be advanced bookkeeping. Just make some notes and file those notes. Now, if you use Excel spreadsheet or QuickBooks, use that memo line and make a note. We go through this every year. People bring in all their receipts. What was this for? I don't know. And what happens is, some people say, oh, you're asking all these questions, Ed, I'll worry about it in audit. No, wrong. And an audit is not the time to worry about it. If you can't remember now, calmly, sitting in my office, who you had lunch with and spent $200 on March 15th of 2016, 3 years from now in an audit, you're not going to remember. You're not going to remember you even had lunch, let alone who you were with. And in front of an auditor is not the time to be doing explaining. Now is the time to do it. We wrap up the tax return. We file all that paperwork. We put it all away, and it sits in that little box until the day we need it. Hopefully we never will need it, but when you need it, there it is. I've been through too many audits, and the ones where we have a lot of data, and we have a lot of backup, and we have a lot of notes, those are the good ones that go by quickly. I'm in the middle of one now that, the people aren't even sure what state they lived in 2015, let alone what they did. They had no notes. They moved around, and it was all legitimate. They had their job moved them. They don't remember. They can't find half the receipts. It's not the time to do it. I'm seeing this way too many. And if you got a business, and then the IRS comes back and hits them with a fine and a penalty and a fee, and the IRS agent's being actually pretty reasonable. He just wants you to document what you did and what you wrote off. So that's the biggest thing I'm seeing this time of the year. Other than that, let me real quick. I got 30 seconds, Todd. Depreciation. Let me say this about depreciation. There are CPAs that make a career. Their whole niche is how to depreciate assets. The thing you got to be careful with depreciation is Section 179. It's a piece of the code, IRS code, that lets you expense a piece of equipment that should be depreciated today versus depreciating it over 5 to 7 years or 27 and a half years, depending on what that equipment or asset is. The question you got to ask yourself is, sure, let's take that depreciation today and reduce our tax load today, but what are we going to depreciate next year or the year after that? or the year after that. If you plan on being in business for a while, and most business people that come to me do, you want to think that through. Where's my business going to be in 3 or 4 years? Do we want to depreciate this for 7 years? Do we want to do accelerated depreciation now and save some for later? Do we want to do straight line depreciated and do an equal amount for 5 or 7 years, or 10 years, or 12 years? And then understand your asset classes. And I'd love to have those discussions with you, those conversations with you. Todd, we're out of time. I can't believe that. Thank you for listening. If you need me, give me a call, 828-289-9300. Send me an email, gilbert@gilbertcarmona.com. You can always stop by and say hi at 113 Whitesides Road, right here, Rutherfordton, next to Southern Baptist Church. Thank you for listening. This is WCAB 590 AM.
ABC News, the White House.
Democrats trying to fight their way back from the November election losses by choosing a new national leader.
In the end, the problem isn't Donald Trump and the Republicans. The problem for them is their brand, is their own brand and their own candidates that don't seem to have a capacity to connect with the American public, and especially in those